we are going to make a couple accessories for Post-its. The first is this layered wood piece with a painted pencil and an engraved name and a little slot to place some Post-its on. This makes a great gift. The second, this is made from acrylic. It's just a 2-piece little jig to put on top of Post-its. And then you can grab a pencil and fill in the lines. Together, these make great desk accessories. So I made these both using a laser. I'm going to give you the SVG files for both. Let me show you how to make them. Let's start with this piece here. So again, you can download the SVG for this down in the description. There's a link that'll take you to a sign-up form, and all you have to do is enter your email and this SVG is yours. So I made this entire piece, it's 3 layers, out of one 12 by 12 piece of 3mm basswood. To color in the pencil, I'm using acrylic paint markers. These are great. They're from Ohuhu. They're linked down in the description. They have 2 tips on both sides. They color really nicely, and I used them to color in these. To attach everything together, I really like Gorilla Super Glue. Because this is wood, you can use wood glue also. I use this for almost all my laser projects. And then you probably want to have some clamps on hand just to hold it together after you glue it. I'm in Xtool Creative Space and I want to bring in the SVG for the Post-it holder. When you bring this in, everything is going to be grouped together, and this is sized appropriately. These boxes right here are exactly 3 inches, just a little bit over, and that's going to hold your Post-it. So don't resize this. However, we do need to come in and ungroup everything so we can create the right settings. So for this pencil down here, if I click on it, we want to make sure that the outside is set to cut. And then all these little lines on the inside are set to score. And then these other pieces up here are all going to be set to cut. And this word up here will be engraved, but chances are you don't want it to say Mrs. Johnson. So that is just a placeholder for us. I'm going to go ahead and delete that, and we're going to add in a text box of our own. We're going to create one for Mr. Smith. You can choose a font down on the right and then set that to engrave. And we'll just go place it where we want it here. Now it's time to connect our P2. The basswood is already in the machine, so the camera is going to capture an image. And we can select everything we just did here and bring it over, make sure it fits. Now we have to tell the P2 what we're doing. So we're processing on slats, and I am going to use 3mm basswood as our base, kind of our preset here. Then I'm going to auto measure the thickness by clicking on this little button here. All right, now let's go in and check these settings here. So this is set to cut. The Easy Set panel is going to default to 100% power. I prefer 80% power and a speed of 30. Once you get to know your machine, you'll understand how much power and how much speed you need. I know that I almost never need my P2 to be at 100%. So I'm going to make sure I change the cut settings on everything to 80-30. The score settings that come standard are just fine. And the engrave settings, I like to use the Easy Set panel for this. So you click on this little piece down here, and it's going to tell you or show you kind of what your engraving will look like. So the example that I showed at the beginning of this video, I was at 250 and 10. I'm going to make it a little bit darker. We're going to go to 215. The last thing I'm going to do is group the pieces together. This just ensures that if I move them around, everything stays together. The final thing I do when I'm using my P2 is I click on Close Shot. The P2 has two cameras, and I put it up at the corner of the material just to make sure that my design is actually on the material. And everything looks really good here, so I can right-click and delete that close view. Now it's time to process. XCS will show me the trajectory of the laser, and it'll give me a total estimated time. Now I can hit start here and then hit the start button on the machine. We've got all of our pieces ready, and we're just going to use some glue to put them all together. I'm going to make sure everything is lined up perfectly, and then I'm going to clamp it together and let it dry. And now we're going to paint our pencil. I'm using acrylic paint markers. You can use regular acrylic paint on this, but the paint markers are really nice and easy to use. These are some of my favorites. They're linked down in the description. When the paint on the pencil is dry, that can be glued on right over here. And this one is ready to go. We can pop our Post-its in, and this makes such a great gift. So I've now put that piece of purple masked acrylic into the laser, and this is the SVG that I just pulled in. It is 2 layers, and everything is already set for you. We just need to tell the laser what we're working with. And I've selected just orange acrylic here. It's actually purple, but it's the same settings. The settings that work best for me when using the P2 with acrylic are 80% power and a speed of 20. Again, play around with this and make sure that what you're doing really works for you. So we're going to make sure that both of these are set to 80-20. And we're going to get them in here to conserve the most space. We'll do that close shot. I really like this feature on the P2 just to make sure that I have everything in the right place. And everything looks good. Measure the thickness here. All right, we're ready to process. XCS is always going to tell you exactly where that laser is going to go and an estimated time. The P2 cuts acrylic, all kinds of acrylic. Clear, opaque, glitter, translucent, whatever you have, it's going to cut it fast and super, super smooth. Whenever you are done using your laser, pull all these pieces out and clean the base plate down there. You don't want to leave any debris down in the bottom for your next project. These are the pieces for our Post-it note jig, and this is masked acrylic. To take off the masking, you can just scrape it off with your fingernail, but that can be a little difficult. I keep Gorilla Tape on hand. You don't even have to cover the whole thing, just cover a corner, push it down really well, and then you can pull it up and that masking is going to come right off. Pull everything with it. With the masking removed, we just need to assemble them. And Gorilla Super Glue works great for adhering acrylic to acrylic. Make sure everything is lined up really well. Then we can just use a few clamps to hold it together until it dries. So we made two little Post-it gifts. We have the holder here with a customized name and the jig, which you can put right over the top to add those little note lines and check boxes. These make such great gifts, or make a set for yourself and put it on your desk. The SVGs to create both of these can be found down in the description. You are welcome to use that SVG in Xtool Creative Space or whatever software you use for your laser. You could actually use it with your Cricut too. If you have any comments or questions on this project, let me know. If you like this video, if you found this helpful, give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing. I'm here every week with new videos. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.